Well, good morning. Let's go ahead and get started.
Good morning.
Yeah, like someone else said, it's military time. We're going to start on time today. See what happens. So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Staff Sergeant Daniel Thrower. I am in the Air Force Band, the Heartland of American Band in Offutt, Nebraska. I joined in 2011 after teaching at some universities for a while, and the benefits looked really appealing, so I took that job. Part-time jobs didn't really pay the bills as well as the Air Force does, so here I am. I have a bachelor's and master's degree from Brigham Young University, and there's my wonderful professor back there, David Brown, and my doctorate of musical arts from Arizona State University, studying with David Hickman. So thank you guys for being here. This means a lot. Thanks. Let's go ahead and get started. I am going to talk a little bit at the beginning because I think it's important for people to get a feel for someone's philosophy before they start getting into a warm-up. So, explaining myself a little bit. The reason for the title, when I joined the Air Force, I had to lose a little bit of weight, and it became a kind of a competitive runner a little bit. And I learned some things about running that correlated into trumpet playing. So, as we go along, I'll try to incorporate some of those lessons that I've learned. The first and important lesson that I'm going to get out of the way right now is that a warm-up should never go to a point of fatigue. A warm-up is always to prepare the body for the physical activity. And in trumpet playing, that is easy to cross that line of fatigue. Running is a little more, you can tell when you're getting tired running a lot quicker than you can tell you're getting tired playing the trumpet. So that's the most important lesson I've learned. Warm-ups are generally shorter, you have to rest a little bit. Let's move on to something kind of simple. We're going to start simple and easy. So everyone get out your trumpets. We're going to play this one. Okay. So why do we warm up? I boil it down to three basic things. The first one is to prepare the body for the physical demands. Obviously, trumpet is a physical thing. We have to prepare the body for the physical labors at hand, whether it be a really strenuous jazz concert or something simple as an hour-long practice session. We just have to prepare the body for that. These are just three things here. Loosen the muscles and increase the blood flow. We know all about that on the face, but there are other things we need to do as well. And to prevent injury and unnecessary fatigue. There are injuries that happen with trumpet playing, and let's talk about those a little bit. If you have the improper hand positions, you can get carpal tunnel. There's all kinds of stuff you can do wrong with the mouth, the embouchure, if you're not playing correctly. So warming up, all that stuff with a focus in mind of avoiding the injuries is important. That could happen to you. Wrapped up the face. Okay, and what do we warm up? I've come up with a very short list of things. I'll let you enjoy that for a minute while I talk. A very short list of things, the physical aspects of trumpet playing. Herbert L. Clark came up with 7. I've boiled it down to 4. The 4 physical aspects of trumpet playing are air, embouchure, fingers, and tongue. And I think that anything you can think of that's physical falls under one of those categories. And they're kind of in order of importance. Air is definitely number 1, the most important. So we're going to, honestly, it's hard to separate a warm-up with the air and embouchure, so we're not going to do anything specifically with just the air, but sound production, and to distinguish between the functions of air and embouchure are crucial. So air, we're going to start talking about air, most important aspect of trumpet playing. All right. So make sure you're not riding a horse. You'll be warming up. Don't get a steady tone. Now, okay, before we actually play, gotta say something about relaxation. That's the key to really good trumpet playing. Everything about your body needs to be relaxed. I found that out more and more as a runner. there are certain things that you have to do as a runner to relax your gait and not flex as many muscles as too many muscles. You only flex the muscles you need to get the job done. Same with trumpet playing. Relax. And the most important thing to relax is the glottis. Now we're going to start involving you guys. Here's my short little introduction. My thought process is in the warm-up session. So everyone can get out your trumpet while we do one special little thing. Now the glottis is it's a body part people don't see. You can't really, it's hard to, how's your spleen today? It's doing great. How's your glottis? What do you talk about glottis? How do you do that? So I'm going to help you get a little more familiar with your glottis. And to do that, we're going to eliminate some distractions. Everyone close your eyes and clear your throat. So you feel where that is. Close your eyes again, give it a little cough, feel where that closes off. Where that closes off, that's the glottis. That needs to be relaxed when you play the trumpet. If it's not relaxed, you can't have the proper breath support to support what the embouchure's job is. And most people don't realize the glottis doesn't always close off completely when you hold your breath and push down, you know, when you play the trumpet. But when you whisper, everyone try whispering and feel that glottis closing off. That's where it restricts the airflow. And when it restricts like that when you're whispering, you can't get the proper support. That's really what support is the free, easy airflow to support what the embouchure has to do. And now we're finally going to play. The book he has in his hand says, "Lip flexibilities, read instructions first. Don't let that happen to you." Oh yeah, okay, gotta talk about mouthpiece buzzing. I'm not a fan of mouthpiece buzzing for my warm-up. However, there are some wonderful benefits of mouthpiece buzzing. I love to do that with my students for ear training purposes, for muscle memory, and for certain corrections of articulation. But we're not going to do that in the warm-up. We're just going to play. So, the first one. The glottis is much easier to keep open while you're lip slurring down. So we're going to play some downward lip slurs to start out. Everyone get out your trumpets. Are you ready? I'm not going to use the metronome quite yet. Can everyone see that pretty well? Ready? Good. Now I hear some people kind of stopping it a little bit from note to note. Just kind of let the note fall. If you think you might be having any problems with glottal restriction, just let the notes fall down and they'll slot easy enough. Let's try the next one, second valve. Ready? Good, sounding better. Check the next one. Next one. Good, 2 and 3. Try to keep that air very open. Get the full rich sound on the low notes. 1 and 3. And the last one. Ready? Go. All right. Very good. Maybe we should start an ensemble. Recruiting, by the way. So now we're going on to a little more advanced lip slurs, not terribly advanced, but to go up that's where people tend to restrict the airflow in the glottis. So try to make it as free as possible. Make the embouchure do the work. Don't push the air out for the upper notes. Just let it flow easily and let the embouchure do its job. Let's try the first one. Nice and slow again. Ready? Rest for a second. Out there, you can go up to the stratosphere. Now, I will caution about the stratosphere when you're warming up, unless you're a lead player and that's where you need to warm up. I generally don't go above a high C in my warm-ups, just to avoid that initial thing, to avoid the fatigue in the warm-up session. So, moving right along. Here's a little more advanced one. We're going to not play a whole lot of these because you know about lip slurs. We'll move on. The fingers. When I warm up, I like to think of it as like a baseball pitcher trying to warm up his arm. They have something very specific they're aiming at, right? And if they just kind of throw at random, it's not gonna do them a whole lot of good. So when we warm up, we've got a very specific thing we need to work on, that third finger. I could talk the whole time about the third finger. I'm not gonna do that. In short, it's the retard. We have to train the retard. There are a couple of reasons for that. The tendons on the second and third finger are joined, and the nerve on the pinky and ring finger are joined, so the brain confuses it, and that's why it's kind of retarded. But that's really short. Gotta look at some pictures, I guess, to figure out a little better why. But the third finger is not our fun one. I think you know that. Now here's the question. What is the easiest key to play in? I love F, no third finger. A lot of people, especially younger players, say, concert B flat. Well, let's try it. Just a short little thing. We're going to start very slow and get faster and faster and faster, incorporating that third finger. So here's the 8th note. Ba, da, da, da. Ready? Finger fumbled there. Not many of you did pretty good. This is like the elite of the world, right? ITG conference. But there we go, third finger. Something as simple as that 4-note thing, 4-note pattern in the key of B flat. Let's try another one. Very slow again, beginning. Ready, and go. B flat major, not the easiest key. It's that third finger. You can come up with your own, I call these finger twisters, just short little patterns, repetitive patterns back in, you can come up with any of them. Whatever key you're in, whatever pattern you have in front of you, find some music where you're having an issue, it's probably the third finger. Isolate 4 or 5 notes, repeat them indefinitely, go faster and faster. train that retarded third finger. So finally, now we're going to get into the metronome. Metronome playing is very important. You know, back to the baseball pitcher, you got to have something concrete you're aiming at, and time is one of those. So we're going to put in some finger things with, I like to think of these as lip slurs, but with a few finger things. They're just arpeggios, simple little arpeggiated patterns. I know the font's getting a little smaller. Can everyone in the back see that still? Okay. All right, we're going to play the first one. We're not going to play all of them. Let's start with the first one. Nice and slow.
Actually, do you mind just playing that first?
Sure. Let's see. 70. Keys. I like to do anything I warm up, short little patterns like this, I like to hit all 12 keys, specifically for that third finger. So let's go ahead and try it. I know when we start playing you won't be able to hear the metronome, whatever. Just play. Ready? That's fine, I get it. Ready? Nicely done. E flat starts to involve the third finger a little bit more. Let's try it out. 2, 3. Make sure your glottis is not being restricted. I'm hearing a little pinching, kind of pushing the notes out with your air a little too solid. Make sure it's flowing freely and easily. Let's do the next one in A flat. Lower again. 2. Ready? Let's skip a little bit down to, let's play B major. Always a fun one. 2, ready. Alright, and skip to the last one. No, what happens? It's like I lost the We'll just do A major and call it good. You know, A major is my least favorite key to play in. Not only does I have a lot of third finger stuff, but it's really out of tune. Anyway, A major, 2, ready. So we're starting to get some third finger going. Notice I'm building on the 4 physical things. We worked with airflow first, working with embouchure. Now we're adding the fingers in with some lip slur type of patterns. We're going to move on. Here's a fun little technical exercise that that I love to play. Now this one we have to be careful with because we play it slow and we play all 12 keys, you're going to get fatigued at the end. So we're not going to play all 12 keys, we're just going to play a few of them. But let's try it out. This is going to incorporate, in any key it incorporates a lot of third finger just because of the accidentals in there.
Can we play it first again?
Yeah. I'm not going to play it terribly slow.
Okay.
Slow, just so you can get the fingerings in there. Breathe where you need to. Ba, da, 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 ready. This is, like I said, a longer one. You get a feel for when your mouth is going to be more tired and you need more rest. We're going to rest for a minute. I forgot what I was going to say. Move on. Like I said, we're not going to do all 12 of these, but this one, again, it goes up a little bit higher into the mid-high range. Be careful. We're going to do the same tempo. All about ready? All right, moving on. 2, ready? Anyway, you can come up with your own patterns. Invent your own.
Is this some method book that we have, or are these just some exercises that you made up?
Funny you mentioned that. These, yeah, I'm writing my own method books. Officially in uniform, I can't really talk about that much, but they're not available anyway, so I'm not really throwing out a sales pitch. But yeah, in the future they'll be there. We'll play this one. Call it good for this. Is anyone feeling any fatigue in their embouchure right now? Good. Let's move on. Let's do it a little bit. Right. So, when you're warming up, it's important to play things that you know. Now, I'm throwing new stuff at you, so it's kind of hypocritical of me, but things that you know. When someone throws a new thing at me, warming up, running, it's different, and I have to think about it, and I'm not usually doing it right. Same thing with new patterns. If you're learning new patterns, keep that for your practice session. Keep the warm-ups a little simpler. Make sure they're, I don't want to say mindless, but things you know well so that you can focus, truly focus on the 4 physical aspects of trumpet playing and not the notes, and not learning something new. So throwing that out there. Let's go ahead and play this. I think we've rested enough. 2, ready? Especially don't recognize the tongue as one of those physical aspects of trumpet playing. A lot of times when I'm doing a master class in front of young kids, I have them come up with the 4 physical aspects of trumpet playing. They always get air, usually get embouchure. Fingers, pretty easy, but that tongue is kind of, they don't think about it. So it's definitely something we need to warm up. It's a muscle we need to coordinate for the day, for the task at hand. So single tonguing first, simple single tonguing pattern. Let's go ahead and try it out. Yeah, I'm not going to do it with metronome because you can't hear it anyway. But metronome is important. When you're warming up on your own, definitely use a metronome. Ready? Simple patterns for the tonguing warm-up, specifically so that I can think about where my tongue is hitting, what my tongue is sounding like. If you don't like the way your tongue sounds, make note of it during your warm-up, and then work on that during your practice session. Let's go down a half step, do B major. I don't have a slide for that, but let's just try it out. Ready? Yeah, that's why I like to progress these down so I get the same pattern going all the way down to the F sharp. Da, 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 da. E flat, here we go. We'll skip a couple later. Ready? Ready? Ready, go. Good, good. So make sure you do your tonguing in the warm-ups too. We're going to do some multiple tonguing. Again, simple-ish pattern for double tonguing. Daka, 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 daka. I don't want to go too slow because that gets cumbersome. You know that. Let's try about that speed. Daka, 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 daka. Ready, 2, 3. going to take the time today. And I don't do all of these exercises in every warm-up. In general, I like to keep my warm-up between 10 and 15 minutes. Anything beyond that, I notice I start to fatigue and I get from the warm-up into what I call the practice session, where you work on things and not just warm up.
Well, we'll do another couple of them. How about...
Yeah, let's do number 3. Ready? Of them, warming up everything together. You get the embouchure and the air together. We've got the fingers, we got the tongue. Now we're getting fingers and tongue together. Now these are little, they're not very long patterns. We're going to pause between them. Taka 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 down. About that fast. All right. Try to get the fingers. Actually, let's slur it first because this is a new exercise for you. Then we'll tongue it. 2, ready. Good, now tongue it. Ready, go. And faster. Taka, 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 ready. Even faster. Taka, 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 down. 1, 2, 3. F major's easy. We'll do it at the same speed. Taka 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 down. 2, ready. All right, B flat. Let's try it at the same speed. 2, ready. Yeah, that sounded a little messy. So let's isolate that third finger in your practice session, right? I'm not going to do it here, but that's something you can do. Isolate it. Find a little finger twister in there. Taka 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 down. There's one. Da 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 down. Da 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 down. Da 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 da. Do over and over and over. Get that third finger trained. Moving along though, we'll hit some of the easier keys again since these are new. Let's do D major down at the bottom. 2, ready. Again, yeah, that's that third finger. Let's try that again, same speed. Ready, go. Faster. Taka 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 down. 1, 2, ready. And even faster. Taka 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 down. 1, 2, 3. Good. G major. Very easy. Let's do the upper octave. Double tonguing and low octave with fingers, third finger stuff. I'll leave that on your own practice session. Same speed that we just ended. Taka 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 down. 1, 2, 3. One more time. 2, ready. Good, good. And finally, a very fun little pattern. Here it is first. Yes, dry mouth. Love it. That's generally how it sounds. Now let's play it together so you can cover me up. Slower though. Taka 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 taka. 1, 2, ready. Good. There's a repeat there. We're not going to take the repeat, obviously. This is something that you can do in any key. Once you get the pattern in your head, you can figure it out in any key. And again, because of the accidentals, every key is going to have some kind of third finger. Let's try, come on. Yeah, even F does. Okay, let's do number 3. Taka 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 taka. 2, ready. that F major one. You get some double tonguing down on the low F sharp. Number 7. Slowly. Da ga da ga da ga da ga da. 2. Ready. Good. Again, make sure there's enough air supporting everything down in the low range. 2. Ready. Good. How about number 11? Lots of third finger stuff. Let's learn it first nice and slow so you can get a feel for it in your fingers. Got some time. Da 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 da. Ready. Okay, now about fingers. When you're doing these patterns that involve the third finger, keep in mind the left hand slide action is part of the fingers, so when you get to the D's and the C sharps, be sure you're doing that. Part of the warm-up, part of the coordination. Let's do that one again, just slurred. Ready? Good. We're going to double tongue it now. Try double tonguing at that speed. Just get the fingers and tongue coordinated together if you can. Da-ga, da-ga. Ready? Good. You got a handle on it. Let's play it a little faster. Da-ga, 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 da-ga. Ready? Excellent. Good. So you can keep those in your ears. Hopefully, I'll try to put these up on my website so you can have access to them. Now, this is just a few little tips. Triple tongue, if you're so inclined, you can include those in your warm-ups as well. I have eight tips. Hopefully you can take away if you have something to write with. It'd be good to write. Focus on relaxation. Avoid fatigue during the warm-up. That's very important. Once you're fatigued, you've gone beyond the warm-up into a practice session. Think of a runner. If he's going to run a race, he's not going to do a warm-up that's a little too rigorous and makes him winded and tired before the race. Keep trumpet playing the same way. Use a metronome when applicable. When you're doing the finger twisters, obviously you're not going to use a metronome, so you go faster and faster and faster until you twist your fingers. Now, no matter what the task is at hand, even if you have 30 minutes to practice, you can do a warm-up session at the very beginning of that. Pace yourself. Warming up is for the task at hand. If your task at hand is a 30-minute practice session, warm up for the 5 minutes. Cover all 4 physical aspects of the trumpet playing before you get into your practice session. Keep the warm-up mindless. Exercises you already know. And if you want to learn a different exercise to incorporate into your warm-up session, the practice session is to learn those for the next warm-up. Be brief but thorough. Now, some people would disagree. I know Doc Severinsen has a really long warm-up. I can't do that. He's amazing. But the brief part of it is, that's what I've taken away from running. Now, I know it's physical. All 4 of those aspects are physical. But while you're warming up, the smartest way to do it is to think of the things during your warm-up that aren't going so well, to incorporate those into your practice session later. I know that I've had some pretty rough days with sound production after a hard concert. So during my warm-up, I can think that I'm sounding really fuzzy today. I'm going to work on that more after I warm up. And the last one, distinguish clearly between warming up and practicing. I've hit on that a few times. Don't fatigue in the warm-up session. That's when you start practicing. Anyway, I hope this has gotten you good and ready for a good trumpet day at ITG. And thank you all for coming. And we are finished like 2 minutes early. Does anyone have any questions for me?
You mentioned your website.
Yeah.
What is your website?
Oh, that's a good question. There it is right there, trumpetthrower.com. I'll try to figure out how to put up these slides. Probably won't get done today, but figure it out. Now, since we're done a little early, I do have to put in a plug, a little shameless plug for the Air Force bands. The career field is down 5 trumpet players right now, so auditions are happening. If you have students that are interested, or if you're interested in a full-time job with benefits, the Air Force bands are a good way to go. On that music stand in the back, there's some pamphlets with audition materials for 2 of the bands. I know there will be at least 5 within the next year. There we go. We'll get back to that if you want to write that down. Contact me if you want to. Any other questions? All right, I hope you're well warmed up.